Hello, everyone, and welcome to Some Kind of Podcast. This is a podcast where we entertain you by discussing what entertains us. I am this week's host, Cody, and I'm joined by both my lovely co-hosts, Tim.
Hello.
And Christian.
Hey.
We're all back together again.
The Returnal of all three of us. You see what I did there? I mentioned the game that you talked about last week.
That's bananas.
And also
we'll probably talk about it.
That we're all back now after much time apart.
Yeah. Even though I physically saw you yesterday, Tim.
Yeah, well, it's not the same as this.
It's not.
I mean, I guess we're supposed to do this like in person.
Yeah, it didn't. It's fine.
But I forgot that I was coming back a day early.
Yeah, it's all good. And Christian graduated.
Yeah, so do we want to do the whole EXP grind thing? Sure.
Yeah, that's that. Hey, we're already doing EXP grind right now.
Christian, what did you do this week?
I graduated. Nothing.
Co-op?
Yeah. Yeah.
You finished your paper mache?
Yeah.
Not that that's entertainment related at all, but it's a milestone in my personal life, so I'm going to share it anyway. It also means that I've actually got more time to devote towards, this stuff now. So that's also
good. Your somewhat, irrelevant to this, just not on the podcast, like hearing and more on like the back end.
Yeah. Now I'm actually able to do the job that I initially signed up for when we started doing this, which was actually taking on the social media and advert promo marketing stuff, which I have not had time to do between school and obliterating my knee. So yeah.
Well, to be fair,
it's all good.
You can do it now. So put that PR degree to work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come Tuesday, I'm not
graduate.
Yeah, I'm not making the post on Tuesday. It's all you, bud.
Yeah. Congratulations, you graduated.
Nope,
make
done.
a Facebook post now.
Yeah. That's your prize. You get to make the Facebook post.
All right, that's fair.
What else did you do besides graduate?
I haven't played a ton of games. I watched Cody play a little bit of Resident Evil just because I was curious about all the hype. I went back and played one of the only few of the Telltale games I never played, which was the Batman one. And that's kind of it. We've been casually rewatching Community as like a late night relief from being stressed out during the day, going through finals. And that's kind of it. I'm hoping to, over the next few weeks, kind of catch up on some games and play more of my backlog that has accrued over the past few months.
So I didn't realize this until I saw you make a post on it the other day. I didn't realize that there was a Friends reunion happening.
Yeah, the day before your birthday.
Yeah.
I got real bummed out though, because I thought it was like, the first new episode of Friends and, however long. And it's not. It's essentially just like, I guess, like an interview episode.
It's like the last episode of The Office where they're like all on stage, like it's like a panel.
That's not as cool. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I'm sure they'll do like a little skit or something.
Never mind.
Yeah, but
I'll still watch it, but never mind.
Yeah, it is a reunion, not a reboot.
Is it called the one where we come together but don't record a show?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, something.
Do you know all the Friends episodes have like
the one with
the one with the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The one with the monkey.
Yeah.
You're sure those aren't the names.
I know they're not at all.
What about you guys? What have you been up to?
Well,
go ahead.
Work. And briefly, I have played more of Returnal. And to be honest, I feel like my opinion like gradually gets better and better on this game. I think it's a contender for Game of the Year. Yeah.
Called a Game of the Year contender when I talked to you yesterday.
Yeah. What I initially like, my gripe was like, it didn't explain any kind of story. It was just like, all right, you're in space and then you crash on a planet. Good luck. Like that's sort of how the game starts. but like the story that unfolds as you go is really good, and it's really trippy.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to spoil anything, but like yeah, it's worth the challenge.
Yeah, so I mean, I think most roguelike games, like as a series or as a genre, kind of just start you off and you're like, hey, you're this person, thing, character, spirit, whatever. Go do your thing, and you're gonna die a lot, and then you're slowly gonna accrue abilities and enhancements that'll allow you to actually finish the game once you've died probably 100 plus times.
Yeah, the only difference in this and other roguelite that I've seen is that you don't really retain anything from your previous run.
Don't you get like perks though, or like you enhance like at least like your character's health and like
You don't keep any of that.
no?
No,
Oh,
the only thing there's a select like handful of permanent suit upgrades that you hold on to, and it's usually just like things that let you traverse the world. Like it's like the thing like you get an object that'll let you teleport, or an object that'll let you like grapple across a distance,
hmm.
or like a sword to for your melee ability. Like those things you keep, but as far as weapons, health upgrades, weapon proficiency, any kind of buff, anything like that, you lose when you die,
Interesting.
and you start from scratch every time.
I know the most experienced like person I have with any sort of roguelike game is with Dead Cells, and like in that game, you start off in like the initial lobby where you have like all these bubble looking things that like over time you go through and you unlock, and it's like one increases speed, one gives you a different perk where you can like double jump or double roll. But then like you start off the game and you like choose one bait. They give you a randomized weapon to start off with, and it's very basic or whatever. But whatever enhanced guns, weapons that you pick up along the way, you always lose those when you die. So
Yeah, I mean that aspect is the same. When you die, you get a randomized pistol to start. Like it'll just be your basic pistol, but then it'll have some random perk and alternate fire mode.
hmm.
But that's really it. Because any weapons you pick up along the way, you lose.
Hmm.
And you can only hold one gun at a time.
Okay, so you don't have like a sidearm and like a main gun or anything.
No, you have your sword when you eventually find it, and your gun. That's it.
Okay.
Um, but I highly recommend this game. Like it is truly a game of the year contending game.
And I keep forgetting this is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not on anything else.
And that's pretty cool. I mean, like I feel like it's about time that next gen starts building up its exclusive library to make the jump to next gen worth it even more.
Yeah,
So
the problem is there's still a ton of people that can't get their hands on one.
yeah, and so like I think this is like a little bit of like in the news from this past week. We saw the release and unveiling of the next gen PlayStation 5 controller, like red
Yeah.
and black versions. And so while
Red
that's
Black
really
one looks
cool,
dope.
yeah, they both look super cool, and I'm excited for it. And I'm totally getting the red one.
I pre-ordered the red one.
Yeah, but like it's also kind of a slap in the face to like consumers as a whole, because it's like most people are still struggling to get the damn console,
Yeah.
and so like to have like new versions of controllers or like PlayStation 5 exclusive rolling out. Returnal just came out. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart's about to come out
Yeah.
next month.
That PS5 exclusive?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is Final Fantasy VII Remake integrated.
Mine knew that, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm happy they're building up like more and more reasons to get excited about next gen, but like I just hope they find a way to actually meet the demand.
Well,
That's
and we might have briefly talked about it. I mean, there were rumors, and Sony has publicly acknowledged that like they know that they're having production issues. Like COVID definitely didn't help. Like they had a plan, and then COVID was a big wrench in the machine, and it's really hard for them to produce. I think it's the AMD chip and the internal like heatsink. So there has been apparently talk of a PS5 redesign.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that briefly last week.
And if anyone missed that, it would essentially, it would probably look different. But it won't be a PlayStation 5 Pro. It will still just be a PlayStation 5. It just might have a slightly more updated processing chip. And while that's upsetting for everyone that has a PS5 now, including us, it really would be negligible. Like,
I don't really care. It doesn't bother me.
At most, it would be like certain games would have a slightly higher frame rate, but even then, like, if it's locked at 60, you're not going to care. Like, you won't notice.
I've never been one of those people that's like, well, the frame rate is really off.
I think most people that don't subscribe to the elitist world of gaming aren't going to care at all.
I mean, I would argue if you're committing to your main gaming platform of choice being a console and not PC, you're by default probably excluding yourself from that category anyway.
I know some Xbox people that are like refuse to get the PS5 or even look in its direction because the Xbox Series X is just superior in every way.
And we call those people virgins.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there's elitists in every... I mean, there's elitist Sony players.
Yeah.
You know, so... I mean, it is what it is. And, like, the whole, like, PC Master Race thing...
let's be fair. We're a little bit of elitist PS5 players.
I mean, I've owned an Xbox. I
own an Xbox right now, Kurt.
And to be honest, like, if...
Christian owned one once upon a time, too.
Yeah. If someone were to, like, offer me a Series X, I wouldn't turn it down. You know what I mean? Like, I played
Whatever, man. I saw one, and I was like, is that the Series X? And I was like, he's like, yep. And I was like, it's very square.
Yeah.
Back in the day, the first time I ever got an Xbox One for like the brief period I had it, it was because Sunset Overdrive made by Insomniac came out, and I was like, I have to play that game. So I literally got the console, played the game, had the console for like a couple months, and I was like, yeah, I don't want this anymore, and then got rid of it. And fun fact, also, like this past week in the news, PlayStation and Insomniac bought the Sunset Overdrive IP from Xbox.
Yeah.
So I think that's hinting at the fact that we might see a revamp of the original and probably a sequel coming to PlayStation.
Yeah, there's either going to be a remake, and you couldn't see the air quotes I just did there, which is essentially just an HD retexture, or a reboot of the series as a whole, or we'll just get a sequel.
I could see them doing a sequel and then just doing kind of like what Insomniac did with Miles Morales Spider-Man, just like giving you the first one for free at like maybe a little bit of a higher upgrade of quality.
Maybe.
If it weren't for the fact that it's the only system my roommate has, I would sell my Xbox One. I don't play it.
Yeah, I mean, there's games that I would play if I had an Xbox. But
Halo.
The thing is, like, I can play all those games on my PC.
True.
Because, like, even when things are exclusive to Xbox, they're not really exclusive to Xbox because it's owned by Microsoft. So you can just play it on a PC.
Is that true for all of them?
Yeah.
Even like Gears of War, Halo,
I've played all the Gears of War and Halo games on my PC.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can even get Xbox Game Pass for your PC. But I mean, I wouldn't turn an Xbox down. It's just I prefer Sony's user interface for the most part. Like, I think Xbox has always tried to make theirs a little too complicated for the sake of, like, I don't know, just putting stuff in stuff, you know what I mean? Like, they got, like, folders and all kinds of nonsense that I feel like is super extra.
Yep.
But I'm not going to, like, hate on Xbox players or PC players. Like, It's like if you're playing on a PC.
I am.
Oh well.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
The whole
I'm
PC
kidding.
Master Race thing is so dumb to me because of course your PC's better than my PlayStation. Your PC costs like $4,000.
Well, especially several years after like a console has come out. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like a
Yeah, you
PlayStation.
can also upgrade your PC.
And you can
You can literally
upgrade your PC. Like if I wanted to, I could go buy, a GTX 3090 and stick it in my PC, and then all of a sudden it's a million times better than the PS5. Like that's you get what you pay for.
actually hate no, hate's a strong word. I am annoyed by PCs, the Master Race player. Like every time, like I'm always like, oh yeah, I play games. And like, oh, what do you play? I'm like, oh, I have PlayStation 4 now and 5.
Yeah.
Like, oh, PC's the best. I'm like, I didn't ask your opinion.
Yeah. didn't
You
start
asked
this
me.
argument.
You asked me a question. I answered it,
Yeah.
and then your response was PC's the Master Race. Like you were waiting
Yeah.
to say that
Well,
comment.
that's why they asked the question.
Yeah.
Because it was either going to be PC Master Race or like PC Master Race fist bump. Like,
Yeah. I also have a life.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm not saying that the people that are PCs and Master Race don't have lives, but I mean, come on. You know the person I'm talking about. If you're listening, you know the person I'm talking about. And if you're listening and you don't know the person that I'm talking about,
You're probably the person.
you're the person I'm talking about. And I would care if that I offended you, but I don't.
God.
So I alienate our listeners, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you asked me what I did to
I was
grind.
literally just about to ask you what you did this week.
I feel like I've been nonstop since you and I recorded that one podcast many moons ago.
Yeah.
Where we were our Final Fantasy characters. Because right after that, like 2 days later, I went on vacation, which is why I wasn't here last week. I went up north to Pennsylvania to see my families after 15 some odd months of not being able to do anything. Probably hadn't seen them since like a couple months before. I think I went up there in like October of 2019, I think. Yeah. So just before pandemic. So yeah, went up there. It was, if you ever been on vacation where you're going to see family, it's exactly like you thought it was going to be. It was a good time overall, but it's family. So with family comes family drama.
Yeah.
It was minuscule, but it's still there.
Yeah. Every
I came
family's got it.
Back down below the Mason-Dixon line, back to North Kakalaki. And there's a gas shortage, which is fun.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of idiots decided to buy hundreds of gallons worth of gas when everyone said, please don't buy hundreds of gallons worth of gas. And then they did anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's the toilet paper thing. Like it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not going to get into it because it's political.
We don't have to.
But people are dumb. Stop bulk buying crap.
That's not even a political statement. People are just dumb.
Yeah, people are stupid. If you bought all the toilet paper and all the gas, I hate you. I don't know
think they're the same people. The toilet paper bought all the gas. People.
I think the same people that bought the toilet paper are the morons that were putting gas in grocery bags.
Oh, for sure. Anywho's it's
Good God.
Found gas, hung out with Cody for a little bit amongst some other friends. Didn't get to see Christian. Hung out with Steven.
You did?
Yeah. Well, I saw him at work. I'm counting
it. Yeah.
I sat and talked to him for like an hour, so I'm counting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks to the gas shortage, we weren't able to fully
he wasn't able
with
to
him.
hang out with
us.
And obviously, you're in Missouri, so
not for long.
Yeah. I was say you still moving back?
I am.
Okay, cool. Good. Anyway, so I did that, and then I drove home today, and I'm now doing this podcast. So legitimately from the last podcast I recorded till today, I've been pretty much going nonstop. So I'm beat. I'm tired. I think I'm a little nasally because of weird allergy things and not being on a weird sleeping schedule because my parents get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I don't do that. But when I will say that when I was on vacation, um, I watched a couple things, mainly because when I first got back to North Kakalaki, I couldn't go nowhere
Yeah.
because I had driven from where I'm at to Charlotte and was like on a quarter tank of gas. Uh, I binge watched The Queen's Gambit. I don't know if you guys have heard of that or
I've
watched.
heard of it.
Heard of
Yeah,
it,
it's
haven't
on
watched
Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's 7 episodes long. It's really good. It's about chess, sort of. Um,
Sort of.
well, it's what's about the girl that plays chess, but it's about chess too. Um, it's really good. I'd recommend it. It's only 7 episodes long.
Yeah.
They are like an hour a piece though, so they're longer episodes, but like there's only 7 of them. Um, and that's the end of it because it was a limited series. It was really good though. I highly liked it. My mom put me on it, so it was good. If you need something to watch, it's just like a one-off like thing, you can probably binge like a day or two.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Recommend checking it out. And I started Better Call Saul.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah. I mean, you do that for a while.
Yeah, and I'm actually like in the middle of season 2.
Very cool.
Very good.
So it's different from Breaking Bad. Less. What do you consider Breaking Bad actiony? Y'all you watch Breaking Bad, Cody, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you have, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched Breaking Bad like 4 times.
It's one of my favorite shows.
I just hate Skylar. Anyway,
Yeah,
not to
Better
go on a
Call
rant about
Saul is better in some ways because there's not Skylar in the show.
that.
But like, it's cool because like there's certain like characters that are in Breaking Bad that are crossovers, and I think now in season 2 I've finally gotten a timeline of where Better Call Saul is in terms of Breaking Bad, because it starts before Breaking Bad, and it's supposed to take place before, during, and after Breaking Bad. So season 1 I think takes place majority before the events start for Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I finally in season 2 they dropped like a hint of where they're at in the Breaking Bad show.
I got you.
Which is right at the beginning. So
yeah, I need to watch it. It's always been on my list. It's just
it's really good. Bob Odenkirk is is normally known for his comedic roles. And while I don't know if I don't want to spoil this. It's not really much of a spoiler because you find out within the first minutes of the episode that like Saul Goodman is not Bob Odenkirk's character's real name.
yeah. No, I think I knew that.
Yeah, I don't remember if they said in Breaking Bad, but his real name is Jimmy McGill.
He might have said that during the show, and I thought it was a joke. Like I thought he was kidding because, like,
No.
Jimmy
Yeah.
McGill, like it sounds like a fake name.
No, like his real name is Jimmy McGill. Saul Goodman comes from It's All Good Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Saul Goodman. No, Jimmy McGill is a hilarious character, but Bob Odenkirk also does a really good job of playing the serious role. So
I want to see that movie that he just did. That's like John Wick.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see it too. It looks like it was really good.
Yeah.
Do
you watch any more Critical Role?
While I listened
listen?
to Critical Role, because bringing up YouTube when you're trying to go through the mountains of West Virginia isn't the easiest thing to do. I don't know how people in West Virginia watch anything.
West Virginia.
Maybe they just don't because they're from West Virginia. And I don't know anybody in West Virginia listens to this podcast.
Hey
so
man, West Virginia's up and coming. They just got a national park.
Did they really?
Yeah. I've already forgotten the name of it, but it's now the 63rd national park.
All right, well, we're call it West Virginia National Park.
It's the only thing there.
It's the only thing there.
Yeah, it's really
There's
the
just
only thing
mountains.
there.
Anyway, mountains and the wonderful whites. That's all that's there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I listened to more Critical Role. I'm on episode 39, I think. I listened to like 5 episodes because it's an 8-hour drive to Pittsburgh from Charlotte. So I listened to like 2 on the way up and 2 on the way down. I'm on episode 39. I didn't finish because you told me that it's not quite finished, but I thought I finished Percy's storyline arc. But
yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like all their storylines sort of continue. Like I feel like obviously like the bulk of his is done.
Yeah.
It's just like there are some loose ends that need to be tied off.
Yeah. Well, I'm on episode 39.
Sweet.
It's going good. Getting into some scaling territory.
Love Sam Riegel.
It's not a spoiler alert because it's 5 years old at this point, even more probably at this point. Maybe 6. Yeah. Found a daughter. So That's cool. Yeah.
Kaylee?
Kaylee. Yeah. Kaylee. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm watching that, and then I kind of cheated a little bit. And I watched the first episode of Campaign 2 just because I wanted to know the characters' names.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know what their names were. I was like, I'm tired of like not knowing who they play in the next campaign.
Yeah.
So I watched like the first hour of the first campaign just to.
It's pretty good. I love their characters in Campaign 2.
I can see them being like really flamboyant, if that's the word I'm looking for. Like Jester seems like she's going to be hilarious.
Jester is hilarious.
Yeah.
Not.
I like Ford.
Dude, there's so many Ford jokes in like the first few episodes.
Yeah.
Like he gets a horse and he's like, "Is it a Mustang?"
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it, and watching the first little bit of Campaign 2 really wanted to make me finish Campaign 1.
Yeah.
So if anything, it has renewed my interest in Critical Role.
Yeah, you should definitely finish 1 before you do 2.
I am. I just was like, I was scrolling down because Campaign 2 comes up before Campaign 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to see what their character names are.
Yeah.
And I feel like Campaign 2 a little bit more because I'll be invested from the story from the beginning, whereas like they started in the middle of their campaign in Campaign 1. So, but I'm enjoying Campaign 1. Don't get me wrong; it's great. And I know that's what their animated series, whenever it comes out, is going to be based upon. So
yeah. I was curious, and sorry, Christian, that you haven't watched any of this. Maybe you should go and watch it.
Now that I have a time, I might.
Have they run into the crazy blacksmith guy or gunpowder guy?
Yeah.
He's like
Percy bought some gunpowder from him. He's in Mon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Vesselheim. Yeah. I met him once. I met him once.
It's by far like my favorite character Matt does.
I like the dude with the maps with the really like nerdy voice.
It's pretty good. But also I don't know how it's gonna play out, so don't tell me. But Grog has Craven Edge right now. Yeah,
and it's the most hilarious thing right now.
Oh, it's great. He just talks to himself basically.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, but Grog has low intelligence, so it's stupid. Anyway, yes, I've been listening to Critical Role.
Nice.
And when I came back from vacation, I should probably mention that I spent a lot of money on video games. I spent like $120 today, which is like
on
2
what?
games. But, well, I already had it pre-ordered, but I guess I spent the money when I was on vacation, but I finally downloaded it today, so it felt like I spent it today. I got the Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
And pre-ordered Endwalker.
I still need to do it.
Do it through PSN or what?
You have to.
PSN, yeah, because the only way you can do it. There was a physical copy that came with like a paladin statue, but that thing sold out real quick.
Yeah, it sold out real fast.
But yeah, I pre-ordered Endwalker solely because when you pre-ordered Shadowbringers, they gave you an earring that boosts your EXP up to level 70, and they gave you an earring that boosts your EXP up to level 80. And I'm leveling characters right now, so why not have the extra 10 levels of EXP boost?
Yep, I need to do that as well. So speaking of Final Fantasy 14, FanFest is happening right now.
Okay. Is that why they dropped all that stuff?
Yeah, so they dropped
about the Bunny Boys and Reaper.
Yep. So they debuted a lot of stuff the other day, including the full cinematic trailer, which was really cool.
I haven't seen that.
I think I sent it to you.
You might have. This week's been crazy, so I haven't been.
Yeah, the trailer's really, really nice. But they unveiled the new melee DPS class, which is Reaper.
Edgelord. I mean Reaper.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Edgelord. Edgelord 2.0, because Dark Knight is
And-
Edgelord.
well, Edgelord was Reaper
Yeah.
in Overwatch.
Well, yeah.
So
Um,
it's funny that you know it's all reciprocal.
yeah. Um,
Final Fantasy stealing from Blizzard. Just saying.
well, Blizzard's not doing anything. Um,
Overwatch,
yeah, I feel like Blizzard's just slowly dying.
maybe. Anyway,
Yeah. Anywho, so yeah, the scythe, dual-handed scythe-wielding melee class.
it has a spirit behind you, like you're a Persona character.
You get a cool Persona spirit that can possess you,
Hmm.
which is pretty tight. They didn't show off any more of Sage.
No, I'm kind of sad that they
Yeah.
didn't.
But they
You think
also
they're gonna come out with a new tanking class?
there is no new taking class.
You don't think they're gonna do one?
No, they usually only do two new per expansion. It was
I'm trying to think. So it was
Gunbreaker and Dancer,
Breaker and Dancer, and
and then
then
before that it was Samurai and Dark Knight.
no, Dark Knight was Heaven's Ward.
No, you're right. What was it? It was Samurai and something. Do you remember, Christian? I don't remember.
Nope.
Maybe it
Might
was
have just been
Samurai and
Samurai.
Dancer, and then
Mm-mm. Dancer was Shadowbringer.
was it
They
Shadowbringer?
came out with the bunny people.
That's right. Yeah, came out with the female bunnies.
It's just been Samurai.
It might have just been Samurai, but usually I think traditionally it's just
Heaven's
been two.
Ward had 3.
Did it?
It was Astrologian, Dark Knight, and Machinist.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, maybe they'll do 3, but they haven't talked about it, and I feel like they're past the point in FanFest to announce it. So I don't
It
know.
kind of sucked. But I guess I wouldn't know what they would put out.
Yeah.
So.
Could always be a patch later, though.
True.
True.
I mean, the first added class, Ninja, was for A Realm Reborn. That was a patch.
Yeah. But yeah, they went back on their word, and they were like, when Shadowbringers came out and they introduced bunnies and the Hrothgar, the male-only cat.
Yeah, I noticed they didn't come out with female cat people.
Um,
Well,
they-
not cat people, but female werewolf
the
people.
female were-cat people.
Because nobody likes that race.
Well, yeah, nobody cares about
That
that
sounds
race.
bad
It's
saying
true.
out loud.
I mean, it sounds terrible, but
It sounds bad saying it out loud. Let's
nobody
not say
wants to
that.
play as that playable game fantasy race.
Yeah,
Sounds
better somehow.
But they when they made those, they were like, this is female only, this is male only, and we have no intention. We're not doing any more new races for the rest of the game. And they were like, it's a decision we came to, and we're going to stick to it. Well, they didn't stick to it, and their thing was like, you asked a lot, so we did it. And I was like, wow. That's like our government stand on like weed. Like everyone was like, please, and they were like, okay.
A little.
Just a little bit. But yeah, now we have bunny boys, so that's a thing. It was funny because I was messaging you and I think Christian too and Matt about the updates as they were coming out the other night, and Matt was like, "Oh, this game, it just gets they can't do any wrong. It just gets better and better." And then I was like, "Oh yeah, here, they just announced bunny boys," and he was like, "I take back everything I just said."
What's wrong with having a bunny boy?
It wasn't needed. I just
Here's the thing.
they're
right.
they're almost indistinguishable from the female bunnies. So I don't
Okay, I'm not going to be a bunny boy.
know.
Here's the thing. I like when they drop new classes. Problem is that everybody's going to play those classes.
Oh yeah, no, I have a plan. I'm gonna get my samurai and my tanks up,
Your Tonke.
my tankes, and then I'll do the new classes. I
I'm going to play Sage.
I
but
will play Sage.
Will you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna get my white mage up too. I am. If Christian plays, I will heal more.
Probably never playing again, man. Let's be honest. He didn't want to set his hot bar.
The hot bar is where it got me. Like, I was all down to
Okay,
try, and then I was
but
like,
I told you how to fix that. But then you were like, realistically
fair,
speaking, I haven't played in so long, so it really wouldn't make any
to be
difference.
fair, the way you set up your hot bar is pretty important for a ninja. Because if you do your mudas the wrong way, you're gonna end up on like a frog or something.
or a little bunny in your
Yeah,
head.
you get a
and then
bunny in your
everybody will
head.
be like, why don't you know your moveset?
Yeah.
Because I don't play this game anymore.
Maybe you should play the game some more and pick a different class. Play the other weeb class. Play samurai. It's a lot of fun. It's
You feel you want to like feel powerful.
yeah. It takes almost no brain power to use, and it's just damage.
It takes a little bit of brain.
I have a Machinist that I think is at level 80.
Yeah, it takes more brain power to do that than samurai. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah.
All you do with samurai is just kill the thing in front of you.
Like honestly,
Quickly,
like
too,
I mean,
'cause
I
you
joke
get
about it, but like when
crits.
people are like, what does samurai even bring to the table? Like, what's their raid utility? I'm like, their raid utility is damage, son.
You can crit hit for like 85k easy.
Easy.
Like just
By accident, you're just like, oh god, whew, that was 100k. I didn't even mean to do that.
like
All
whoops,
I
I hit the wrong button and somehow I murdered the thing in front of me viciously. Oops.
Well, that kind of segues into what I wanted to ask you guys. Going forward with 14,
No.
what would you want to see added to the game? Like, I know what I want.
I want. Well, what do you want? Because I don't even think about this.
Well, so I've been from the beginning, and I know like there's a lot of people that are just going to go, but like I need some Final Fantasy VII in this game. I get that like Cloud's actual Buster is the level 1 and 2 melee limit
If
break.
you want Final Fantasy VII, just play Final Fantasy VII.
Look, a Sephiroth trial would be amazing.
It's not going to happen. So
It's
you just
not,
gotta-
but I'm just saying I want it in the game. I want that in the game. I want Cloud's
They're
fusion
like,
sword.
look, we don't have Sephiroth.
We have Sephiroth.
Sephiroth
Yeah.
without the H, but that's the best you get.
No, I think it'd be easily done. I want Cloud's fusion sword, Yuffie stars for the dancer. You got Sid's spear for the dragoons, Aerith's pole for the healer, for the white mage.
Tell you what I want. I want the obnoxiously long Masamune.
I want the Masamune for my samurai.
I want it to just like it's never fully on screen when you're running.
Yeah, no, it's just always off screen.
It's always on
Hitbox
screen.
is no different.
No, it does nothing. It's just
Yeah.
it's level 1. It's just glam.
Yeah, it's just glam. But I want it. I want it to look really dumb when I unsheath it and it just appears out of nowhere. I also, as dumb as
For those of you that can't see me, which is everybody, I did a really long unsheathing motion.
as in most absolutely 100% impossible. Well, I'd say it's 80% impossible for there to be a Star Wars crossover and give us lightsabers in the game. Just as a glam. Look, all I'm saying, Kingdom Hearts is the thing.
That's nothing. Did I freeze or did you freeze?
You froze, but it's fine. We're still going.
Yeah.
But yeah, what would you like to see in the game, no matter how ridiculous or impossible you think it might be?
I mean, I like a Keyblade for my Dark
It'd
Knight.
be pretty tight.
I don't know. In the realm of possibility, I like another tanking class. Not that I ever play it. I just think it would be nice to have a fourth one, or a fifth one.
It would be a fifth one, yeah.
Yeah.
What would you like it to be, though?
Hammer wielder,
Well,
like Nero.
there's technically hammers for the warrior.
Yeah, but there's not enough to make it.
I mean, I know, but
I'm not buying that. Listen, if you can have lightsabers, I can have a tanking class that
Yeah.
has a hammer because it's more realistic.
I mean, yeah.
Just saying. Just saying. I don't know. I want more like I don't know. I'm a dungeon crawler guy. I just want awesome dungeons and dragons. No, there's already dragons in the game.
Yeah.
No, I just want cool dungeons. I kind of don't want to go to the moon, but that's already a thing.
I have mixed feelings about the moon.
God, we don't
I
need
mean,
to go.
like, I feel like they took the Fast and
Do you know like
Furious.
the picture? You know, like how they have all like the pictures of the Final Fantasy thing. It's like a Star Destroyer.
Yeah, it's literally a Star Destroyer going to the
Yeah,
moon.
it's like, all right, we're just ripping off all kinds of things
Yeah,
with this.
that's why I was like, give me lightsabers. We're in space. This isn't a stretch.
They might have a laser sword.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's not
fine.
gonna be
That's
called
fine.
lightsaber.
Call it whatever you want, but give me a freaking lightsaber.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm
I mean, we're all going to the moon,
going
so
to the
like,
moon. Why not?
whatever.
Like,
By the way, if you pre-order it on the PlayStation Store, it says it's the climax of the Heidelin and Zodiac story.
yeah,
So that doesn't mean Final Fantasy 14 is ending. Just means that story is ending.
yeah. I think we briefly talked about that before.
Right, because if I ever have to deal with another Ascian again, I'm like,
Yeah, no, that's what we were talking about that a few months ago, I think, actually, or maybe just a month ago, about whether or not this was the end of 14 or not.
it's not.
And it's not. Like,
It's
they're
not.
going to continue 14. They're just going to do a whole new story after this is over.
You probably keep your character, but it's not the end of 14.
Yeah.
Anyway, Christian, you should say words. What do you want to be?
What would like
play?
idea like what's going to bring you back to the game, man? What do they need to add?
Bar being already set up.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
a button
like,
that
so
just there you go.
the only complaint I've ever had about Final Fantasy 14, it's the same thing with all MMOs. It's just in order to be any sort of like powerhouse of a character, like there's just so much time devotion needed to the game. And so I mean, like, I think what I want,
No, you only need to play like 1,800 hours. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
and like I feel like what I would request them add, they kind of already have. You just have to pay for it. And it's like, if you fall behind, you can go on the Mog Station and buy the character
the
instant
$20
level ups
book.
and the
Yeah. Believe me, I'm currently thinking about waiting for the expansion to drop and then buying a level 80. What was it?
Tome.
Yeah, well, a level 80 tome, but I can't remember the class that I was like literally just thinking of. Monk. Like, I really want to play Monk.
Speaking of Monk, Christian, you remember when you were playing Monk and it was like you got to have this move on, and you're like, I don't have that unlocked, and then you realize you had to do all the
hadn't
class
done
quests.
any of your class quests. Oh, man.
I was getting so mad too, and he was like, "Why the hell do all these people keep saying that I have
you
these
go into
moves?"
something, people are yelling at me that I'm not doing these specific moves. I'm getting so tired. This is bull. And then you got out, and you were like, "Oh, I haven't done like 30 levels worth of story quests for my
had, like,
character."
Like 6 moves locked.
Yeah, and like all the like highest like damage output ones too.
Just remember you did all of them all, and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm doing damage now.
Oh man, just played the game with like both hands tied behind your back
Yep.
and one foot just gimped.
Yeah. Anyway, hey Christian,
Okay.
how about you give us a Metacritic update?
Okay.
Because I seem to be doing really poorly in this division, and
Well-
being the Oscar winner, I'm upset about this, and I call it shenanigans, and I'm being snubbed.
You're not really that far behind. In all
Snubbed?
honesty. What?
Go ahead. I was just being an idiot. Go ahead.
Oh. All right. So yeah. So as you all may recall, in episode 3, we gave our predictions for what Metacritic scores the movies, video games releasing in 2021 would get. And so it's time for an update. The Metacritic score system that we set up was if you were within 10 of the score that a game or movie received within a week of launch, you get a point. If you're within 5 of the score, you get 2 points. If you're within 3 of the score, you get 3 points. And if you got it right on the money, you get 4 points. So the last title that we kind of visited on last week's episode was Pokemon Snap.
Oh, snap.
And a kind of running total, what that added in, Tim, you were at 10 points total.
Ooh.
Cody, you were at 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I am at 15.
Yeah.
Great.
And so I think the only thing that we actually have to add right now, since it's a week post-launch, is Resident Evil Village. That released on April 30th of 2021. And actually, it hasn't changed since we gave the update last weekend. When Cody and I were chatting about it, I went ahead and just said, like, oh, it's currently sitting at an 84. And a week later, it's still sitting at an 84. So it remained pretty consistent. And so our guesses that we had at the beginning of the year, Tim, you had 88, Cody, you had 85, and I had 81. And so adding our points up, we were all within that, within 3 of the score, you get 3 points, which is cool. I ended up on the...
I gotta be on
Tim's within 4.
Yeah, I'm within 4.
Did I add that wrong?
Yeah.
You are within 4.
So I can only get 2.
I'm going to change.
You know, because I'm forever the optimist here, and I just want the best for all these games and movies, and you guys are just lowballing everything.
Okay, well, thank you for pointing that out.
Wow.
So yeah, with that being said, then Tim, you were at a total of 12 points. Cody, you're at a total of 14.
30 dozen.
Cody, you're at a total of 14, and I am at 18.
Yep.
Running away with it.
Pretty sure
You
Russia's
guys-
interfering.
You guys are like one on the money pick away from catching up, though.
Not really.
That's all
We're only one on the money pick and one you completely bombing it pick away. Like you have to pick something outside of 10 points, and we have to get something on the money.
Yeah, with
for us to
Ratchet and
catch
Clank,
up.
maybe.
I was gonna say, like, if Ratchet and Clank gets like a mid 80s, I'm screwed because I gave it a 95.
Yeah, it's
on
not.
Ratchet and Clank
remember
is a
that.
mid-80. We're all screwed because I think we all were in the 90s.
Yeah.
But speaking of Ratchet and Clank, that is going to be the next up and coming one, leading us into the summer months, where there's going to be quite a bit of movies and games dropping that were all on our Metacritic predictions at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So we'll have plenty to talk about coming up in the next few months with movies and games.
We'll have A Quiet Place 2 that comes out
yes.
May
On-
28th
On my birthday.
on Tim's birthday.
My birthday.
So that's exciting.
Yes. We'll finally actually have a movie.
Yeah, I
It's
was
our
gonna say
first...
that-
No, we had Godzilla
No,
and
we had,
Kong.
yeah, you're right. We did. I was going to say the same
Well,
thing.
our second movie, though, finally. Because things are actually going to start coming out now. Because, you know, vaccinations. Anyway, I have a question for you guys real quick. I know we haven't talked about it, but I'm just kind of curious. Other than Ratchet and Clank, because I know this is your favorite game of all time in the history of everything in the world, Christian, what game are you really looking forward to? Because there's a bunch coming out in the next, 6 months. Like, what's the big one that you're like, I will devote my life to this?
I feel like you took his answer.
Cody, you wanna go?
again.
I knew Christian's gonna say Ratchet and Clank because he's been talking about it since this podcast started. So I just wanted a different answer.
You're not going to get one. If I had to pick anything, it's probably remake Integrade.
You can play the game over again.
Probably. Dude, I
Did you
absolutely loved
platinum
it. Huh?
You get the platinum?
No.
Oh,
No. I think 3/4 of the way through on hard mode,
okay.
but it's really hard.
Yeah.
But I'll probably play through it again once. I think I'll do the DLC stuff first, but then I'll probably go back and play the whole game on the PS5 upgrades. But I mean, it's the same for me. 7 for me is what Ratchet and Clank is for Christian. So
True.
trying to think, because I really honestly don't think anything massive.
It doesn't have to be anything massive, but just something you really
No, massive for me.
This is for me. I mean, Endwalker doesn't come out until November, so
Yeah. Outside of that, like, unless they're just like, oh, here's a crazy awesome Star Wars game out of nowhere, like I don't think.
well, as a matter of fact, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I don't want
funny
to
you
get
mentioned that.
It's Jedi Fallen Order 2. It's coming out in like 2 weeks.
I'd lose my mind. Um, I did. I don't know how true it is. I heard that they revived Star Wars. What was it 1313?
Oh, okay.
Apparently they revived that and are bringing it back. But I don't think it's the same studio making it. I think it's
Oh, no.
Lucas Games or whatever making it now. So
Christian, what about you? If you want to say Ratchet and Clank, that's fine. I just was. I knew that was gonna be your answer. So
No, you're good. I was honestly trying to like refresh myself on like what all was coming out over like the next few months games wise, because I know there's a ton of movies coming out,
Mhm.
but I kind of drew a blank apart from, now that Resident Evil is out, Ratchet and Clank's out at the beginning of June. But I guess over the next few months, there's the Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance that's
Oh, yeah,
coming
that's
out.
right.
Scarlet, and that's in
before
June.
before you read the list, let me
Oh, I'm
say
sorry.
mine because you're probably gonna say mine because mine comes
Okay.
out at the end of the month. Mine's Biomutant.
You see, and again, this is the game that I keep like I have it pre-ordered on my console. Like
Yeah,
it's set up for auto download, and I'm super excited about. For whatever reason, it keeps slipping my mind.
yeah. It comes out on the
Same.
25th, and I'm super excited about it.
it looks fun. I still haven't pre-ordered it. I need to.
Yeah, no, it's set up for auto download on my PS5 right now, and it comes out in like a week and a half.
Yep. Anyway, go ahead with your list.
I won't run through like all of them. Not that there's like a ton anyway, but like there's a Ratchet and Clank, Biomutant actually, before that.
Yeah.
Scarlet Nexus, Dungeons and Dragons, Dark Alliance. Um, trying to see if there's any other ones of note that I'm forgetting about. Far Cry 6 doesn't come out till this fall. Back for Blood got pushed back till this fall.
Oh, did it?
Deathloop.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it got pushed from June to I think like
I think the beta got
October.
hit really hard with negative reviews.
mm. Oh, and then Deathloop comes out and like, oh wait, no, that got pushed back too
I
because that
for-
was going to come out at the end of May and it got pushed to September.
I constantly forget about Deathloop.
Deathloop's that game. Like, I guess it's another like roguelite where I'm like, I kind of want to play this, but I also don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Kind of like Returnal, but Returnal apparently, I'll have to wait till my next paycheck to get it. Like, apparently, is really good though.
It is.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. Like it's an indie game that just kind of like I mean, I'm not gonna say like it snuck up, but like I mean like I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. Like if you like especially like if you played the Metroid Prime games,
Yeah.
it's very similar in like the tone and environment. Like it's really cool.
But to be a little bit different, because in all honesty, if I'm not saying Ratchet and Clank, which is the obvious choice, Biomutant probably would have been my pick. But to be different, I'm gonna say the Dungeons and Dragons game. I'm really
Yeah, I
excited
know
for
that
it.
we were all looking at that. And
Yeah.
Really, maybe considering getting that one as well. I had honestly forgotten about it until you said it right there.
Oh, I've got it pre-ordered on my
Yeah, I've
console.
also got it pre-ordered.
Well, I don't.
You got time.
Games are expensive, man. Like,
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
well, that's cool. I was just curious because I saw Biomutant today and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. And then I watched more trailer footage of it and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna invest a lot of time and energy into this game unless it sucks.
Yeah, yeah. Like I feel like
Well,
it's either
just-
gonna blow everyone away or it's just
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh, why did we?
I
waste
agree.
our time?
There's only it's either gonna be the greatest game of all time or terrible.
Yeah.
And I lean more towards the first answer, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cody, you want to talk about Resident Evil?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think last weekend when
briefly.
we talked a bit, we Cody, you were only about like an hour into it, but you've gotten quite a ways in.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for ahead, of course, but what do you think?
Yeah, definitely spoiler alert. I'm at what I assume is the last part of the game. Ethan has died, and I'm playing.
So,
as
to start
Chris
off,
Redfield.
There's 4 like I guess bosses in the game, right?
I think there's technically 5.
So there's 4 like under bosses, and then there's like the main guy at the
yeah.
end.
and I've taken out the 4 underbosses. I guess that's a good way of putting it. Um, the big vampire lady being the first one.
Okay.
You mean the one that the internet's in love with?
Yeah, the one that the universe like unanimously simped on.
Hard.
Hard. Yeah, like I briefly mentioned before we jumped on here. I think it's pretty on par with Resident Evil games, being like the boss fights aren't ever particularly difficult. Like it usually gives you a bunch of ammo, and like even during the fight, there's ammo. And it's very straightforward. Like, yeah, you just kind of have to shoot the eyeball, and then like when it prompts you, like jump up and stab it, or shoot it with a rocket launcher or something. Like it's usually pretty straightforward and not really like too challenging, but not like so under challenging that it's not fun. But like I feel like they're all traditionally like the time in between boss fights is really challenging. Like it's all the puzzles, exploring. I think a lot of the normal enemies are more challenging than some of the bosses are as a whole. And then like you get to the boss, and it's just like the boss is just a device to move the plot forward.
Okay. Yeah. So I watched you play through a little bit of I guess it's the second boss, the doll area. And I was kind of surprised because I mean, not only was that, place obviously at least in my opinion, as I'm sure yours, the most horrifying part of that game.
It was awful.
But the way the boss fight unfolded, it was pretty like unchallenging, and then you ran into that, I guess, like side boss thereafter where you had to go back and collect that headstone in order to collect that chalice. And I thought that it looked like that boss fight, which was just like some random extra thing, was more challenging than the main boss fight.
I've run into one other of that enemy so far, and yeah, there are just enemies that are just more difficult to fight than bosses, and it's usually just to get like a piece of really valuable treasure or something, or a gun upgrade.
So I was looking at something the other day on social media, and it was kind of a rundown of all the playthrough timelines and how long each game takes to like actually beat. And I was kind of surprised. Of course, I've never really kept up with the series as a whole, but it kind of looks like the average time to beat a game is in like the teen hours, like 10 hours to like 20 hours time frame. And it said that Resident Evil Village is in about like 10 to 12 ballpark. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Tell the story about how you can essentially like reattach limbs. That's funny.
Oh, yeah, I didn't play 7, so I don't know if the healing salves is a thing in that game as well. Obviously, it's the same character. I do know that your left hand gets severed in 7, and like I think they just sew it back on, which isn't impossible even in today's medical standards. Like,
yeah,
I know if you lose like certain appendages and stuff, they can sew them back on with enough time.
Yeah.
But in 8, there's a point where your like arm gets sliced in half, or it's like severed below the wrist. And you're just left with a nub, and then you have to run around while you're being chased. And then you have to like grab your hand off the lever you were trying to pull, and then run away, and then you just pour this liquid onto your wrist and torn jacket, and then take the cut off wrist and jacket and just place it back where it goes, and it just reattaches.
Mild.
I mean, like there's a point where the creepy sisters they put hooks through your hands, like from the back, and that pokes out the front, and they hang you from the ceiling. And to get out, instead of like, because you're swinging, you can't like pull the hook out of your hand. You just pull down, and it just pulls up and through your hand for both of them. And then you just pour that liquid on, and they close right up.
Interesting.
Some advanced healing tactics they have there.
Yep.
So at the point you are right now, Cody, you said you've beaten the four, I get we'll call them underbosses then, and you haven't beat the last one. At this point in the game, how would you put it on par with the rest of the franchise?
The ones that I've played, it's definitely on par. It's really good. I think it's better than Resident Evil 6. Um, but I think Resident Evil 6 is like unanimously one of the least enjoyed games.
Right. So like at this point, before this game came out, Resident Evil 4 was probably the most beloved one,
It
right?
still
For
is.
fans of the
Still
yeah.
is. It's still
And this
my
one took a
favorite.
lot of hints and nods from that to like especially with like the inventory and the way things are set up, right?
Yeah.
You have an attaché.
Yeah. It's a first person Resident Evil 4 game. That's what it feels like. Because you do have an attaché and inventory management system like that. You upgrade the attaché, you buy weapons, upgrade them the same way you did in 4. There's a merchant the way there was in 4. There's even a point where
What are you buying?
yeah, so there's a point, the merchant is like this massive Jabba the Hutt dude. And there's a point where you go into the menu to look at things to buy, and in the background he's like, what are you buying? And he's like, I'm sorry, an old friend of mine used to do things that way.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, hey, they acknowledged that they took a lot from 4.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's the way the puzzles play and the way like the game is laid out, it's very, very Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Which I love. So I think
I will probably hate it.
this is easily top 5 for me.
Games or
at
any
least
franchise?
maybe top 3, to be fair, since there's only 8. Well, there's way more than 8, but I only count the core games.
So you're saying in the top three, you're talking about your favorite games of all time, or just
No.
within the
Favorite Resident
franchise?
Evil games.
Oh, okay.
Like I think 4 is my all-time favorite. And then I think 2 is right beneath that, and then 8.
Okay. And so going into this one, I know you kind of skipped on 7 just because you're not huge fan of the horror elements that
Yeah.
a lot of
From what I
horror games
understand, that what you saw with me, the like horror for the sake of horror part, where they like took my weapons and it was just hallways and twitching dolls and the giant massive baby creature
Yeah.
in the dark. From what I understand, what I saw, that's what a lot of 7 was. It was jump scares and like horror for the sake of horror. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure there were weapons in that game. I don't know how it handled them. I never cared enough to look into it from what I saw. Like I played the demo and I was like, I hate this.
So after you get past that second underboss, then with the doll mansion or whatever,
Oh, it goes
is
back
that
to
kind
being
of
it goes back to being a cakewalk.
interesting?
Like the boss after that is like creepy like sewer water monster thing, and he was pretty easy. He wasn't terrifying. And then the one after that wasn't really scary. It was more just tough enemies.
So I guess the question is I know that one area kind of freaked you out as it did me, but was that the right amount of horror for you that you'd appreciate in a game, or is that still too much?
Oh, that's way too much. The right amount is what everything else in this game has.
Just like the dark overtones.
Dark
and everything
overtones,
being
you know,
kind of
the
freaky.
occasional like jump scare of like a zombie popping out of somewhere, or like, you know, the dark hallways followed by like, you know, some like werewolf creature or whatever popping out. Like that's fine. But you don't have any way to defend yourself in this dark, creepy house as a bunch of dolls start seizing and like laughing and singing creepy little songs, and then you're being chased by like a ghost and, you know, a puppet and then a massive demented baby creature. Like I'm good.
So going forward from this, do you think that they'll routinely have more horror elements in their games, even if it's just like in this one where it was just like a section of the game was kind of very heavily horror leaning?
Well, I can't speak for Capcom, but um, from what I understand, just from my own experience and reading Reddit threads and stuff, is that uh, Seven. A lot of people did love Seven. It definitely has a big fan base.
Do you think it was a majority of the Resident Evil fan base?
No, I think it was
Okay.
horror fans
Mm.
because they also had the game in VR and it was terrifying, from what I understand. Like the game is a terrifying game, but I think a lot of the core fans didn't like it because it was such a leap from traditional Resident Evil. Like you played six with me a little bit,
Yeah.
and
And see, that's kind of when we played six, that's what my mental, like when I think of Resident Evil, that's what I think of because I
yeah,
played five.
and that's fair. That's pretty close to what traditional Resident Evil is, and they went hard left out of
Hmm.
nowhere and were like, "Hey, guess what? You know how you enjoy these third-person games, and we just introduced like moving and shooting and started improving on things, and you can actually dodge and all this good stuff. Well, now you're in first person and you can't do any of that.
Hmm.
Also, there's no zombies. It's just a creepy, like hick family in Louisiana, and they're all infected with creepy like zombie moss.
So the people that were like crawling out of the ground from the bit I watched, those aren't like zombies.
No,
Those
no,
are
those are
just like,
zombies. They're just
okay.
like it's not. It's sort of like in four where like they were zombies, but they were essentially infected with parasites.
Hmm.
Whereas these things are infected with um, like parasitic moss,
Hmm.
which is giving
Interesting.
them weird powers and stuff.
So you mentioned earlier, again, spoilers, but after you beat the fourth underboss, you want to go and say what happens?
Oh yeah, the main chick, Mother Miranda, shows up. Well, I guess right before that fight, right before the last boss fight, you run into Chris Redfield, and he explains that the wife that you saw get shot in the beginning of the game was not your wife. It was actually Mother Miranda mimicking your wife in order to steal your baby, and they thought they killed her, uh, but she was faking death. Apparently, she had the ability to revive herself, and so they put her corpse, Ethan, and their child in one van, and Chris and got into another, and there was like a convoy. And then, sort of like in Iron Man, the first movie, like the convoy gets hit and they get split up. But the convoy getting hit was Mother Miranda waking up out of her death and killing everyone and
Hmm.
taking the baby. So he explains all that to you, and then you guys sort of like agree to team up, and like he's gonna go lay charges throughout like the facility you're in at the time to blow it up, and he's like fixing up a tank basically
Hmm.
that's made out of metal that like the last boss can't control because he's basically Magneto.
Hmm.
Um, and so you literally drive a tank around and go to the last boss fight with a tank. And then like he like the like third phase or whatever, he takes the tank from you, like he hits the tank away from you, and you're on foot. Go through all that. You kill him. Mother Miranda shows up and starts like going back and forth between her normal form and the form of Ethan's wife. And then she like basically shoves her hand through your chest and then rips out your heart and just squishes it.
So you're effectively dead at that point, like actual dead.
Yeah, no, he's for real dead. No magic liquid is going to bring him back. Um, and so from there, where I'm at now, it goes to you're playing as Chris Redfield.
So do you think he'll be the main character moving forward into the next game? I mean, I
Yeah,
know you haven't finished it all the way yet, but
I don't know. I really don't know. It depends on how this ends. I don't know if they'll just revive Ethan somehow, some stupid
so
magic way, or if it'll be What? Yeah, I really don't know.
Question on the
Down.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
This thing, they're gonna give him a Phoenix down.
Yeah.
Question on the Mother Miranda thing. So, like, I know you were saying she in that fight she switched back and forth between her regular form and the form of the where she takes on the look of the wife. Did he actually like have a baby with Mother Miranda, or
No,
at
no.
some point did Mother Miranda come in and kill his wife?
That's what I'm unclear about.
Okay.
I know that they didn't have the baby together. Like he had the baby with Mia. And at some point, Mother Miranda took over Mia's life, and I don't know I don't know what happened there. I don't know if she kidnapped Mia and took her spot, or if she killed Mia and took her spot. I'm sure that'll be revealed at some point. If it's not, I'm just going to assume she killed her. Or, like, she actually died in 7 and you didn't actually save her. It was Mother Miranda.
Interesting.
Yeah, so unless they've actually, unless it's something I missed, which is very possible. But yeah, I couldn't give you a solid answer on that.
It'd be interesting to see where it ends then,
Yeah.
see if they bring back Ethan, see if Chris is just the main character going forward or what. So with the collector's edition of the game, who was the statue of?
Chris,
Well, maybe that's why.
maybe. I honestly thought he was going to end up being a bad guy. Like he was going to be like one of the werewolves or something.
That's kind of where my mind went.
So,
Because they leaned heavily into like the artwork and marketing for the game with like the split face of was it Ethan or Chris, and then like the other
Chris.
half of the frame was a werewolf.
yeah, you never see Ethan's face.
Yeah. So, weird.
So, I don't know. You guys have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I think you guys did a good job last week when I wasn't here, but I noticed that you guys didn't end on a random thought.
Didn't have one.
Well, I don't have a random thought either, but I have a random story, and I'm going to share it right now.
Okay.
Do it.
So it kind of ties in a little bit because it happened near a movie theater. But I went to ye old movie house that I refer to occasionally, and I was talking to one of the associates there, and we were outside in the parking lot because I was getting ready to leave, and we're just having a conversation, chitting some chat. And this dude came out of like the bushes. I swear he came out of bushes. I don't know where he came from. The only thing in his direction was bushes. And he like walked around a car, and like, so imagine like there's like a car, and then like there's the row of parking, right? So you know like how it's like split, like they have a front spot and a back spot, right?
Yeah.
So the car's in the back spot. Me and the person I'm talking to are next to our cars, which are in the front spots. So, and there's like 3 rows between us and the car that this dude's walking around. And he walks around the back of the car and like walks all the way up towards us. Like he's going to just join our conversation, looks up at us, sees that we're just standing there staring at him because this random person is just walking towards us. We don't know this person. I verified afterwards that we do not know this person.
Just a random homeless guy?
No, he wasn't homeless. He was wearing like, well, he might have been homeless. I don't know. I don't want to judge homeless people, but he didn't look homeless. And then he like, so he looks up from his phone, sees us, backs up to the car, right? And then he just kind of stares at us, and we're like, "Hey," and he's like, "Hey, it looks like you guys are about to talk about nothing." And we're like, "Sorry." He's like, "It looks like you're about to have a conversation about nothing." And like, I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're gonna have a conversation about nothing important, right?" And I was like, "I mean, we were talking about work." And he went, "Oh, how is work?" And we were like, "It's good." And he was like, "Okay, so you don't want to talk?" And we're like, well, we were having a conversation with us. He went, "Oh, okay." And then like just turned around and left. And then as he was walking away, just went, "Thanks for having me in your conversation." And then just left.
Did he go back into the bushes?
No, he went around the corner. You know, you probably know what I'm talking about, like around the corner towards the front of the theater. And yeah, that's the end of the story. There's really no real punchline or conclusion to it, other than some crazy person really just walked up to me and the person I was talking to and said we looked like we were going to have a conversation about nothing.
This guy must have
And
been on something. Like either he was like on meth or drunk or something.
Don't know. It weirds me out to this day because like, how do you walk up to somebody and be like, what would you do if I? Well, I mean, it'd be different because I know you guys, but like, do you think you can just walk up to somebody and be like, it looks like you're gonna have a conversation about nothing?
I mean, I think just walking up to anybody and asserting yourself into a conversation with random people is weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
just not even including the rest of the
But then
weird
you
stuff.
add like coming out of the
He was
bushes.
like, kind of young too. He was maybe in his 20s. Wasn't like some old random hobo dude. You know what I mean? Like, he looked like just a dude in his 20s that was just walking along. And like I said, I don't know where he came from, but like he came from an area where like you can't like drive there.
Right.
So yeah, I just wanted to share that because it was weird and random, and that's what the end of the show is for, is weird randomness.
All right. Well, you ever just hide in the bushes and insert yourself into people's conversations? It's gonna be my tagline.
I really don't want to talk to people, but yeah, you should call this episode. It looks like you're having a conversation about nothing. That's what you should do.
Yeah. No, the episode title is A Conversation About Nothing.
Yeah.
All right. All right, guys. I'm gonna wing the outro because I don't have it in front of me. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to leave a comment, like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We could use all the help we can get in that department. Share it with your friends. We don't really do anything on Twitch anymore. Not that we ever
at the moment.
I actually might start like replaying the campaign of Final Fantasy XIV. Whatever, I'll Twitch it. I don't care.
Yeah. Okay, we might do some things on Twitch.
I actually meant to talk to you off podcast. Whatever.
Okay.
I'm ruining your outro.
No, you're fine.
Content coming soon to Twitch.
Yeah, content coming soon, maybe to Twitch. Be on the lookout for just random videos here and there. Like I said, things are kind of slow right now because of life. But hopefully Tim and Christian will be able to record some stuff on their own. Visit our website, skoentertainment.net. That's where you'll find all of the mostly up-to-date Metacritic stuff, as well as info on what we've got going on. That's sort of our hub, if you will. But yeah, thanks for listening, and tune in next time, because even on the best of days, we all need some kind of entertainment.
Bye.
See you guys.
Yeah.